Welcome to my channel to everyone who's new here, and of course to those of you who are back again, great to have you here. In this video we are going to talk about SUI, Avalanche, HBAR and Dogecoin. Things remain exciting, so make sure to watch until the end. So, about SUI. I'm currently in a short trade for Solana, SUI, HBAR, Kaspa and ONDO. This H pattern here broke to the downside. We have also said we have a fair value gap, this one right here, which we can fill. And the thing is, we filled that fair value gap, but in what kind of price movement? What I see is a bear flag, a rising wedge. So it doesn't matter how I want to tell like in which kind of pattern we are currently. It is all bearish. And the thing is that I would say, since we have three chart patterns, because I have two different bull flags in this case, so one is sharp. If I take it out, the other one is less sharp, has a better angle. I would still keep the sharp one on the chart as well, just an orientation, so we can still get into the fair value gap, $3.80, this one right here, and we would still be very bearish. And like I said, since we have three chart patterns right now, where is going to be the breakout? I can't tell you which kind of chart pattern is going to get activated, maybe even all three of them. $3.68. This is the key level where I would say, if we break it to the downside, then I'm even more confident that we are going to sell off. And I think the target is going to be $3.35 to $3.30. But also we have fair value gaps down below, so we have to look for the price movement to the downside, because if we then see some kind of an bullish, let's say for example we sell off and we see some kind of bullish chart pattern which afterwards break to the upside, then we can get out of our short position, because then the bullish reversal is going to happen a bit earlier. But for now, if we don't see anything of that, then for sure $3.35, $3.30 is going to be the target. And from here I expect a nice movement to the upside. And yeah, this movement is not going to mean that we are going sky high for SUI. It just means from there we should see a bullish reversal. But first, $3.68. If they break to the downside, then I think we are going to sell off with a very high chance. And yes, I'm already in my short position. I took it right here. Why did I do it? We broke through the downside, the H pattern, we retested it. I was looking for a follow through with the chance that we can still get higher prices. We never know. Yeah, for now we got, for example, this price movement. So basically, if I want to short, it would be better if I short right now instead of right here. But we never know. Maybe we are going to sell off from here instead of getting this price movement. Like I said, measuring the targets and chart patterns are not the difficult part in trading. It's more about the entry and how we are going to look for our positions. So if we now look over Avalanche, we have said about Avalanche that we didn't even get that H pattern. So most coins did this. Avalanche got a nice high retracement. But now we have a bear flag. This one right here. And if it breaks to the downside, and yes, we can say it would break to the downside at the price mark of $23.63, I would just wait a little bit longer, wait for the $23.45, because here we have a trend line with many touch points. It's far more better in my opinion. And then we are just going to take the length of the first sell-off, put it here to the breakout point. It's directing us into the $21.28, but I would say a good support is at $22, so there is my first take profit right here, and my second take profit is going to be right here. There I expect, if we even break to the downside, but if we break to the downside, there I expect a bounce at $22, and then we have to see if we are even going to sell off again, or if we are just going to get from here a higher low and then get higher prices. Then the drop is done. But first of all, let's see if we even break the $23.45 to the downside. That's why we'll make this trend line red, because red means short in my opinion. If we afterwards lose the $21.28 to the downside as well, then $20 is going to be the next target. But let's see if we find some chart patterns which are directing us for even far lower prices. I don't want to say that the chance is low to see this fair value gap getting filled. It is still there. But I think once we fill that fair value gap, Avalanche has the good chance getting into the next fair value gap, which is between $26.86 to $26.50. And here's a smaller fair value gap, $25 to $25.18. So if we now look over HBAR, I can't see any kind of chart pattern which we have developed since yesterday. We have set here, this is an H pattern. It broke through the downside, it got its perfect retest, but this retest failed in the end, and we got higher prices. Pretty unusual in my opinion, like sometimes we see 5 candles in a row, so this is the perfect retest in my opinion, and it still fails. Okay, can happen. Since I don't see any kind of chart pattern, I can't see any kind of breakouts to the downside. So I would just wait for the 24.6 cents. Here's the price mark. If that breaks to the downside, then I can say, okay, the chance is very high that we should sell off at least into 23.1 cents. But in the worst case scenario, since we have a huge fair value gap, so this big square, 20.3 cents. So also here it was similar to Dogecoin. We will go to Dogecoin. There also we had a few days ago a square on the chart, a big take profit area. So what we do is we take profit step by step, like 10% here, 10% here, 10% here, maybe 20%, 30%, 40%, who knows, like small charges. But if we also lose the 20.3 cents to the downside, then here's the next target. So we have to see. So far I have just adjusted the targets. Like usually we had here this rising wedge which broke to the downside. We don't put it to the breakout point anymore. We put it to the highest point. And the same goes for the H pattern. If we now look over Dogecoin, whoever can remember this market stage right here, this one here, we had 3 different falling wedges, inclusively an inverted head and shoulders formatation, and I can't remember any other chart patterns, but we had 4 or 5 chart patterns. All of them broke to the upside, so there were all bullish chart patterns in that market stage, and we took our long positions down below here for this push, and we had our square, and we have set 10% small charges until we get to 26 cents. For example, here we didn't touch the 26 cents. So we could have waited for the 26 cents and then we would have got this, or we take profits a bit earlier in small charges, which is the best option in my opinion, or we just take profits in one go, for example here, and then we miss the push to the upside. So anyway, I see the same structure just on the opposite side, so on the short side. We have said H pattern didn't break to the downside, so we have also said we can still get into the maximum level of that fair value gap. Here's the maximum level. Look where we went, exactly into that fair value gap. We closed it 100%. So let me take this out from the chart. What we have developed on the way up is a bear flag. So on the other hand, we can also say this was an H pattern. Okay, no problem. this is also then a bigger H pattern. It doesn't matter because we have the bear flag. The bear flag is exactly the same target as the H pattern. So basically, I would look for a breakout at 22.6 cents. If we break it to the downside, then the target is going to be 18.8 cents. We can also say, since it was the H pattern, okay, if we break it to the downside here at 21.9 cents, this support level, then the H pattern is going to get activated. Target is going to be 18.1 cents. We have also an old rising wedge in bright blue. So it broke also to the downside. I put the length to show you that. I put the length of the spread of the rising wedge to the highest point after we got a breakout. So we got our first breakout right here. And if we get a retest which is higher than the breakout point, then we put it to the spread to the highest point. And since we got another higher point, I can put it right here. Target 19.1 cents now. And if we look on the purple trend line, I hope you see it on YouTube because the quality on YouTube is a bit different than on my screen. Then this here is an head and shoulders formatation. And it also fits to an head and shoulders formatation because what is the head and shoulders formatation going to do? We have some bullish breakout. For example, here, let's assume this is a falling wedge or a bull flag. We got up, get a bullish consolidation, break it to the upside, get a new top. Afterwards, we sell off quick and get a consolidation within a bearish chart pattern, which then breaks to the downside. Then we break the neckline to the downside, and then we have the perfect head and shoulders formatation. That's how I want to see a head and shoulders formatation. Bullish pattern first to break it to the upside, get to the head right here, then sell off, get a bearish chart pattern. It can't be better. Breakout 21.3 cents. If we break it to the downside, target the length of one shoulder, in my opinion. We put it here to the breakout point. For sure, we can also sell off in the length of the head. But what I want to show you here is, I have tried to explain it very easy to you, all the chart patterns. So we have 1, 2, 3, and an old chart pattern, 4 bearish chart patterns. And they would all get activated, in my opinion, once we break the 22.6 cents to the downside. Let's say it even got activated because we have the first breakout. But I want to see a more bearish chart pattern, which is the bear flag. If that breaks to the downside, then we have 4 targets directing us into the 18.7 cents. And if we look over the 18.7 cents, then we have seen... wait, I need to change it a bit. I don't know if I moved it by accident. So it's still 18.8 cents, 18.85 cents. So 4 targets directing us to that red trend line. What we can do is, I'm not short for Dogecoin at the moment, but I will once the 22.6 cents breaks to the downside. And in that case, I don't even have to wait for a retest. So I don't want to see this kind of price movement because this is an upwards trend line and it is pretty sharp. So basically we don't have to retest it, because if we need more time, then we retested it right here. And this is most likely not going to happen. So if I see a nice candle close or even 2-3 candle closes lower than 22.6 cents, then I'm going to get into a short position. Once we break the 21.8 cents to the downside, which is this H pattern right here, and the support trend line, then I would increase my position size So then my average price would be somewhere here. And if we then break the 21.3 cents, but over the time this target is also going to move, 21.2 cents, if we break it to the downside a bit later, then I would double up my position size again for this price movement. And maybe we get even lucky and get something like a smaller bear flag, which we then also can short and double up our position size again. So here is a huge possible trade, not ongoing, but hopefully soon in my opinion, because we make our most gains once we scale up our position size. Once we see many breakouts happening after each other, and here in that case, 4 targets directing us into the almost same target, 18.8 cents. So if I just go into a trade up here and I don't want to short more, then it's still 17%, but I can double up on the way down always, once we break to the downside. And there are the gains. There we can do with leverage. Yeah, just assume we are going to take a 5x leverage, for example. Then it would be 75% to the downside. But if we are doubling up 1, 2 times and also no, a third time, then this can actually be a 3x, 4x trade. Maybe even 10x if we double up even more. So with that said, huge chances are possible. I expect a pullback. For most of the coins, we have the bearish chart pattern like this, and afterwards we have to see if we are going to pump up, because this is what I think. I think we are going to sell off one last time, maybe even a bit lower, because we still have the stop losses, which are somewhere here. It's not going to change my analysis, even if we break here to the downside. Then we can get higher prices. This is my plan. And with that said, we see each other in the Render, Tau, Kaspa and ONDO update.